Now let's start our first topic, how to find sparks and turn it into writing ideas. Part 1, how to find sparks. Unfortunately, sparks do not pop up magically. Good writers must pay attention and build spark banks. 1.1, over fantasy sparks. Collect sparks that pop up in your mind in your daily life. This kind of spark may come from one of your dreams, an inspiration you got while watching a movie, or dialogue between you and your friends. These sparks may seem bizarre, but they are not. On the contrary, they are excellent materials for writing. Taking notes on these fantasies at the time can help your writing improve. 1.2, indirect sparks. Those sparks come to you when you're reading and watching films. Examples include classic plots, the interesting way the characters are introduced in scenes. The sparks of this kind offer writers practical, significant guidance. 1.3, life sparks. Those sparks come from models of characters and events that you encounter in your everyday life. Those inspirations may stem from an encounter with your sexy neighbor, a visit with your doctor cousin, or a quarrel between friends. 1.4, news sparks. Sparks of this kind come from the news you browse online every day and events that are trending on social media. You can record the points that resonate with you and turn them into suitable writing materials. Finding a spark is not the end. We need to turn it into an idea. To do that, you need to ask yourself some other questions. What kind of story should it be? What's the plot type of the story? Where does the story happen? Who are the main characters? Here are some tips to help you building an idea from a spark. 2.1, set a background. The background is the foundation of the story. The background should include time. Most romantic stories happen in contemporary society, so writers do not need to spend a lot of time explaining today's societal environment and rules. But if you place your story in the past, the future, or on an alien planet, you must give your readers a clear picture of the time in which your story is taking place. Describe the landscape. How do people think? What are the political and economic rules? Scene. Scenes do not only give the story space, but build a kind of atmosphere. Readers have different expectations for different scenes. As an example, in Diving Into You, when the hero and the heroine are in a bar, readers naturally expect to see some romantic interaction between them. It is different when they're in a sports stadium. In this example, readers want to feel the passion that comes from sporting events, and they expect to see the hero win the championship. Background story. This is different from the main plot. The background story describes what happened in the past. It is helpful to explain how the characters developed. A good background story will help the reader fully understand the characters' emotions and motivations. Having a background story makes story characters more believable. 2.2, design the main characters. When you design your characters, consider 3 dimensions: appearance, personality, and social connections. Appearance, we refer to sex, age, figure, clothing, the choice of their hair, posture, habitual actions, etc. Personality, you're talking about moral standard, ambition, temperament, attitude toward life, abilities, etc. When we think social connections, class, occupation, education, home life, religion, race, nationality, etc. A person's appearance, personality, and social connections should be mutually consistent. The characters in a book should be diverse. Each character should have his or her unique characteristics, which must be a composition of elements from the 3 available dimensions. 2.3. Determine the tags of the story. Even romance stories have many tags to choose from. Different tags will affect plot setting, character designing, and the emotional tone of a book. Here are the notes for you. Let's start topic 2, how to design characters. When talking about writing, we couldn't emphasize any more about the importance of character design. A good story needs good characters. Although a good plot is required to keep a reader flipping the pages, it is ultimately the characters that the readers fall in love with that keep them reading. The more attractive your characters are, the more popular your story will be. Let's take a look at the mystery of character design. 1. The 3 dimensions about character design. As a writer, you know that every character is an individual. According to The Art of Dramatic Writing by Lajos Egres, though, if we vivisect them and try to find out just what elements go into them, we will see 3 common dimensions: physiology, sociology, and psychology. With knowledge of these 3 dimensions, we can create an engaging character. 1.1. Physiology. What should be considered about physiology is sex and age, figure, the color of their hair, eyes, skin, their posture, and habitual actions, their appearance, their clothing, their defects, and heredity. Sociology. What should be considered about sociology is class, occupation, their education, home life, religion, race and nationality, their place in the community, political affiliations, amusements and hobbies, their social circle. 1.3. Psychology. What should be considered about psychology is sex life, moral standards, personal premise and ambition, frustrations, chief disappointments, their temperament, their attitude toward life and other people, any complexes, their abilities, the qualities about them. Let's move on to the next part. How to create a character by using those 3 dimensions. When creating a character, you do not need to write everything down from the get-go, but as the book progresses, it is good to be mindful of who they are within the context of the 3 dimensions outlined above. Your character should have a full life in your mind before you can put him or her into a situation. Otherwise, you will not know how they will react or how other people will react to them. 2.1. A person's physiological factors, social background, and personality should be mutually consistent. 2.2. Small details about your character's personality can make them more likable. 3. Do not ignore supporting roles. Supporting roles not only drive the storyline, but they also win over readers in their own way. In addition to considering these 3 dimensions above, there are 2 more points to consider when designing supporting characters. 3.1. What is the distinguishing feature of this supporting role? Supporting characters do not feature as prominently as main characters do, so the writer is forced to develop them with a limited number of words. 3.2. What is the relationship between the supporting actor and the leading roles? There are 2 types of relationships: unity relations, hostility relations. Well, after sharing those tips, now we know that designing characters should be fun and exciting. Through each character, a writer can express a part of themselves and then take that part of themselves on a wonderful journey. There are some general tricks to the trade, but every writer has his or her own creative methods that come into play, making every story unique. Whatever a writer does, they should remember to keep the design process logical and think of the characters as real people. Here are the notes for you. I hope you enjoy this course. I'm going to focus on how to determine the main plots. Number 1. What is main plot? To better understand the definition, let's focus on 3 key words: events, order, and change. Those 3 words can also be exchanged into 3 questions. What significant events happen in your story? What is the order of events? How do these events influence or change your characters and the general storyline? The main plot must reveal the change in a character's identification or emotions or fates, introduce new conflicts, lead to desperation or hope, enhance a sense of nervousness and suspense. How to determine main plots? We can divide a story into 4 simple parts: a beginning, development, climax, and an ending. From these parts, approximately 6 to 8 main plots will be required. At this point, just focus on the significant conflicts in the plot. Each one of your main plots must fill at least 3 chapters. To help you finalize your main plots, I want you to think about the following questions. Here are the notes for you, and I hope you enjoy this course. What is secondary plot? And what is the difference between the main plot and the secondary plot? Well, main plots are drafts of drawings that portray the shape of a frame, and secondary plots are the colors that add vivid details to the drawings. A synopsis provides the writer with the knowledge they need to design their story. Secondary plots show them what specific content to write on every page. In regards to secondary plots, there are 3 keywords also. These are scene, action, and conflict. These 3 words suggest what events will happen to some people in certain scenes. Let's see how secondary plots work by these 3 words. Scene. In a word, scenes are the primary writing tool in a writer's toolbox. These are the functions of a scene. They relate to events that are happening in the present, indicating when change is about to happen. Scenes convey emotions, a sense of time and space, and arouse the reader's expectations. Actions. In a synopsis, actions are typically divided into character actions, dialogues and movement, and non-character actions, movements of objects or animals, and a change in the natural environment. A good synopsis should be clear about who does what. Conflicts. Conflicts are the engine that drives a story's development. With conflicts, characters can develop and change. When designing secondary plots, pay attention to the following questions. Are there any conflicts among the characters in the scene? What motivates characters to act? What are the conflicts in the current scene? How does the conflict change? How to apply a structure to your synopsis. And today we're going to introduce the most classical structure, the 3-act story structure. As you can tell from the name, the 3-act story structure consists of 3 parts: setup, confrontation, and resolution. Act 1. Setup. Introduce the main characters. Reveal a snapshot of the world that they inhabit. Produce the characters' necessary background. Introduce the initial conflicts. After the introduction, quickly explain what is happening to the character right there and then, and what he or she may face in the future. Act 2. Confrontation. You want to show the central conflict here, along with some secondary conflicts. Describe the changes and contradictions that occur within your characters. Act 3. Resolution. All conflicts should be resolved, and all questions should be answered. The characters should have grown and matured. Justice should, but not always, triumph over evil. Love should, but not always, overcome all obstacles. The opening of a story, especially the first 3 chapters, is crucial, and their success is the key to attracting readers, to drawing them in. The importance of a strong opening is self-evident, but it is often the most difficult part of a book to write. The first-line dilemma is a very common phenomenon, and our course will help you overcome it in different ways. Today we are going to talk about how to introduce heroes and heroines. Number 1. 2 taboos to avoid when introducing main characters. Too many supporting roles. Too much psychological description. Number 2. Methods to describe the main characters in the introduction. Put the main characters in a particular scene. To capture the reader's attention in the opening chapter, you should make sure that the main character's appearance is impressive and fits their personality. One of the most common methods is to place the main characters in a particular scene. Examples include daily life scenes and non-daily life scenes. Daily life scenes show the main characters in their natural environment, their comfort zone, which will contrast upcoming changes and conflicts. Non-daily life scenes can exemplify the changes and conflicts in the main characters' lives. Writing dialogue for your characters. A good dialogue is more appealing to readers than a declarative sentence. If you can use dialogue to introduce characters, definitely do so. Try to give up on descriptive statements and monologues. The advantage of dialogues is that they contain emotions and conflicts. They can reveal not only the plot, but also the personality of the characters. Make the main characters have sexual attractions and give them a sense of substitution. Sexual attraction and a sense of substitution are used to target readers. When your main characters appear, if you can transfer their feelings of sexual attraction and sense of substitution to your readers, Your opening will almost surely be successful. Hope you enjoy this course. Thank you.